All right, so let's take a look at Austin's game. Not exactly sure what's going on here. At the beginning of the Code Club, one of the things that we spent a couple of weeks on was the physics behavior. The physics behavior is just as it sounded. It takes and applies physics to the objects. So in this case, he's got a bunch of objects. I don't even know how many. It looks like there's maybe 20 or 30 different sizes and shapes. And he's applied physics to them, and they're bouncing around. They've got elasticity, and they've got mass, and they've got friction. And so he's just got them as a weird, crazy thing here. And a lot of the kids did that. I don't know why I've got Austin's up here, but that was his physics game. Let's see what we did at week 6. So this is back to some of the 8 direction, and so in his case he's got a deer going around. Now, I think if you hit the red things you die. Yep. And then he's got a convenient restart button, so you can restart the game if you do die. So let's see. I think the next week he had added some additional features to that. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, so this actually looks like it's about the same. All right. Let's see, 8B, I guess that's what I should have looked at. So this one I think is the 8 direction, but yeah, he changed it up. In fact, he might have even started over on this with just some different characters. Now you'll notice the camera's following us around. So here we added the camera thing in order to move around and have a much larger screen. And then I believe, yeah, and then I died. I hit the green. Not supposed to hit the green thing. But the yellow, or the red, actually makes a little launch pad to fling you forward. So let's see what week 11 looks like. I think this might have been, this is where we started to do the platforms. Now I think I started at the wrong level here, because that, I think, took me to the next level. So I might have started kind of halfway through the game. I don't know if I can jump up there. It doesn't look like it. Oops, it gets squished. I guess it's okay. So this here, we started to learn how to build a more complicated game here in this week. And this is a platform game where your character runs on a platform, as you can see, and he can jump up, and there's a few other things that you can do too. There's some jump throughs and some double jumps, and whoops, I hit the spikes. But the whole point of this is to, kind of like Super Mario Brothers, where you've got an elaborate screen where you have to kind of get through without dying, and then you can move on and get to the next level and so on. So all of the kids did some different variations of this. I provided the images and some, I died again, and some of the initial kind of logic for how we did that. Let's take a look at week 13. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this is the race car, yeah. And his race car is huge, so I don't think it can even turn the corners. Oh, whoops. And if I remember correctly, if you hit the spikes, you end up going infinitely slow. And he doesn't have it where it'll ever speed up again. Let's see, 15. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this is the exploding presents. This is actually pretty close to my version. His do appear to be going a little bit faster, so he might have just followed along and built this game out as the instructions were. Let's see, 16. Oh, this is the tank game, so this is where we got involved on building we ended up creating a 2-player tank game. This was the first day here where we just did 1 player. And you see the tank actually moves around in a weird pattern when you turn around this weird circle. It looks like he's got the image point off a little bit, which is why it does that. 17, I think this is probably the 2-player version. Let's take a look. Yep. So I'm not sure. We hit the space bar, the other guy shoots. I don't know how we fire from the other guy. But anyway, this was the first time we did a 2-player game, and so this allowed them to kind of work out how you'd have 2 different key combinations to control 2 different vehicles, in that case tanks. And this is Austin's breakout game. Now, if I remember correctly, his progressively got more difficult. Yeah, so he's got these moving ones, and let's see, I think the last is it the last level? Oh, it might be. So he's got Pac-Man. So one of the things that we did do is we created a Pac-Man, so you could control the keyboard in order to get your Pac-Man. Now see here, you can see where there's only a couple spots where you can break through, so this gets progressively more difficult. You know, and I actually encourage the kids to build games that got more difficult as the levels go on. I mean, that's how most games work as well. I don't know if that's his, yeah, that was his last level. So you'll see a lot of different variations on that game. Let's see, 20. Oh, that was where we were just at. Go to the last one, 26. This here should be our Floppy Man game. We're going to see a lot of variations on the Floppy Man game. So Austin, he made his overly complicated. So you have to avoid the grenade, and the grenade almost immediately falls on your head. Let me scooch out of the way. All right, there we go. So the grenade, you have to avoid the grenades, and I see it's raining cats and dogs. Oh, and then I just got shot. You see there's a gun here shooting, and you have to avoid that as well. And he doesn't have any way to restart the game, so you just have to start over if you die. He is definitely more complicated than the original. You have to avoid a lot of things, and like you have to float and then wait for the bullet to get shot. And then there's another one, and then I get shot again. So anyway, there's and you can see he's got some cats and some dogs and some coins, and you're supposed to actually collect up the coins as you go through. So a little bit difficult. So anyway, that's Austin's games.